State, my colleagues in the party, all our leaders and members across the country, I welcome you to this press briefing. Today, we are going to be talking about the issues pertaining to the FDC and specifically address our mind to what seems to be an impasse within the party. To do this, I will be making remarks first, and then later the Secretary General, Nathan Nandala Mafabi, will be speaking to you, and then we will have the Honorable Robert Franco Centenary making remarks. This press release is going to be both a personal and an FDC official statement, given the fact that in the recent past, my person, that of the Secretary General, Honorable Nathan Nandala Mafabi, and the person of FDC have come under severe and savage attack from a section of our leaders, meticulously put together with the main objective of desecrating the party and turning it into a personal organization that can be used for personal political gain through unholy alliances. All of us who are going to speak to you, ladies and gentlemen, are people with a NEP. As the public may know, I have been in the mainstream political activities of this country for almost 3 decades. I began my national political debut in 1994 as a young person running for political office to join the Constituent Assembly. None of us who is going to speak today has belonged to the NRA, stroke NRM, and its successor, the National Resistance Movement Organization, NRMO. I have participated in every election as a candidate since the Constituent Assembly elections in 1994, and also as an active team member for the late Dr. Paul Kawanga Semogerere in 1996, and for Dr. Kizza Besigye from 2001 to 2016 during the presidential elections. To me, 2016 was such a unique opportunity because I was chosen to lead the campaign of Dr. Kizza Besigye as his national field coordinator in an election that we convincingly won. Together with Honorable Nathan Nandala and the others who joined that campaign, we worked tooth and nail, day and night, to ensure that this victory comes about. My comradeship with Nandala Mafabi and Dr. Kizza Besigye started in the year 2000, when Nandala Mafabi, coming from the World Bank, and myself coming from my practice, decided to join hands to hunt down the dictator who has continued to develop bedevil this country, Uganda. To do this, we joined Reform Agenda. And Reform Agenda was an outfit quickly put together under the leadership of Dr. Kizza Besigye. And I believe that we won the election of 2001 using the Reform Agenda as a vehicle. Of course, needless to say, as members of both Reform Agenda and PAFO, we went on to form Forum for Democratic Change that now enjoys full national presence. And for those who do not know, at that time, Dr. Kizza Besigye was in exile in South Africa. It therefore goes without saying, without any shade of doubt, that the two of us sitting before you today are not only seasoned politicians, but people who have been in the trenches to fight dictatorship in this country. It is therefore disheartening but not surprising that we could be branded as a people who would want to betray the FDC and take it to Mr. Museveni by whatever means, and Ssemujju has described this as being put in a truck, you know, and taken away to Mr. Museveni. Something that, to say the least, is an impossibility. Not only because of our strength as political leaders, but also because of the manner in which the FDC is institutionalized, but also grounded in this country. Today, as FDC, we recognize and accept that within the environment we work, it is quite natural to have divergent views, and that such diversity is common in any organization similar to the FDC. It leads to healthy internal discussions, engagements, and better decision making, and particularly when there is dialogue within the organization, when there is no mudslinging within the organization. Over the past years, as you will appreciate, the Forum for Democratic Change has faced many challenges that no other political party has endured, but we have always found various avenues for resolving internal disagreements, and these channels remain open. I assumed my role as party president amidst challenges, including the biggest departure this party has ever seen: the moving out of a former president and a former secretary general, together with a host of senior leaders, to form a new political party, the Alliance for National Transformation. This situation was adequately and decisively dealt with through team and hard work, and we have since moved on. I am grateful to the members who stood by us throughout this period. Unfortunately, some individuals who are ardent opponents of the current leadership chose to remain within our ranks, but continued to undermine us, waiting for any opportunity to strike. It would seem like this opportunity has now been found. Despite all this, we have persevered on this journey, and our capacity has been tested time and again. by new political waves, but we have emerged even stronger each time. To all the members of the Forum for Democratic Change who are dissatisfied and have concerns about the leadership and how the party is run, we encourage you to make use of the available avenues outlined within the FDC Constitution to address your grievances. And in any case, we are a public institution and we abide by the supreme law of the land. It is totally defeatist for anybody to be running to Zambia, sharing hall, to conduct what was ostensibly a party function. And yet we have abundant ground here that can accommodate everybody. It is total cowardice for anybody, whatever his or her size, to go out of an area where we can participate in active debate, and it goes a few kilometers from here as if this is not recognized as our home. I would like to address the country on what has possibly created this kind of situation. Number one is the two centers of power that we have in the party today. In 2012, when our founding father decided to leave the leadership of FDC, it was generally accepted that there was a need to fight the dictator leading a cruel junta using two prongs. The first prong that we prescribed as medicine to this dictatorship was activism, or defiance as it's commonly known. The second was elections. The formation of the People's Government, whose founding I was part of, was meant to reclaim our victory of 2016 using civil disobedience. Of course, we ran several campaigns together with the president, the People's President, Dr. Kizza Besigye, running risky ventures across the country, some of which led to fatalities, including death. And therein lies our foundation. Therein is our DNA, the foundation of which was built on defiance, the foundation of which was watered by the blood of common Ugandans. After a number of years of close working together, today there is a contestation whether elections are useful in ousting the Museveni dictatorship, with People's Government declaring war on elections through transition now, no elections campaign. This approach conflicts with Article 12 of the FDC Constitution, which commands members to register and vote and to canvass for votes. Ironically, the Deputy President of the People's Government, who also doubles as the Lord Mayor of Kampala, Erias Lukwago, continues to hold an elective office, making it unbelievable that this is a serious campaign that is being brought to Ugandans. I see this as the highest hypocrisy amongst some of our colleagues who have chosen to preach water but drink wine. The FDC maintains that both elections and activism are powerful and useful tools and will will be used hand in hand in our bid to bring down the dictatorship in Uganda. For any organization to strive, there is a need to have one central command. Today, the FDC finds herself having two competing centers of power, one residing at number 6 Katonga Road and the other at Najanankumbi. Both these centers of power are fighting for the same political space. We are going to be trying to work within a very short time to narrow the gap between the two in order for us to work in harmony. The second issue that seems to be bringing this conflict is the issue of our election of 2021. As the country is aware, the FDC took a resolution to participate and field candidates in every position as much as possible. I was FDC flag bearer and definitely took the lead in this entire campaign on behalf of FDC in 2021 general elections, mainly in defense of my party. I took a great risk and made great sacrifices because I had the option of running and winning as Member of Parliament. We had piled pressure on Dr. Kiza Besigye, who had earlier declined to run for the 5th time. I am sure there were better prepared members of FDC to run in my place, but I firmly believe that some of them didn't do so for the reason of political preservation, which is really a natural political phenomenon. I was abandoned by people I worked with, and for many years, I ran a lone campaign supported by a few fearless and committed comrades. And I wish to thank them so dearly for standing above self-interest. Very strange that the same people who were sitting up there at the high table in Zambia, whenever I went to their areas, they just ran away from me. They hid from me. I came to Kampala here, I didn't see the Lord Mayor of Kampala, even if he boasts of having a 200,000 strong support within the city. And this happened everywhere, and there is evidence to that effect. Those proponents of the Zambia meeting decided to betray the party and the cause of the struggle. This act of hostility to the party, including campaigning against our official flag bearers, is a hostility to the party for which it's never too late to proceed under our constitution. Funding of the 2021 elections, which seems to be one of the biggest interests that is in the news now in our country, was one of our greatest challenges during the campaign and the election processes. A resolution to borrow from friendly sources without interest was passed by the Working Committee and the National Executive Committee, chaired by my then deputy, Owechitibwa Joyce Nabosa Sebugwawo. To the best of my knowledge, a borrowing was made and accountability for all funds spent made to the first Working Committee and NEC preceding the 2021 general elections. The audited accounts have since been presented to the National Council and the Electoral Commission. Non-public disclosure of some sources of funds for the campaigns, disclosure of some sources of funds for the campaigns is not possible, because throughout our life as a party, we have maintained a policy where sources of funding that don't wish to be disclosed are kept confidential. And we got to take note of this. We are not going to the marketplaces to betray people who have supported us financially. Some of them are in business. Some of them may be working in government, but do not believe in the government of the day. Some of them may be ordinary citizens who may not want to be disclosed. And so the last thing we shall do is to betray our allies. This is meant definitely to protect our funders from wanton attacks by the junta. The allegation of funds received from hostile groups by the party was made by our founding president in 2020. In private, he claimed that he had intelligence information that money had been received by the party from the Museveni establishment. It took us 2 years to try quietly to resolve this matter without much success. So this is not a matter of yesterday. It's something that has been hovering around for nearly 3 years now. This accusation came to light, to public light, during the 15th National Council meeting held on 25th to 26th November 2022, raised by our founding president, Dr. Kizza Besigye. We decided that the media would be left out of that particular session because we wanted to discuss internal matters, and therefore this was not captured in the cameras. The acrimony arising from the debate moved the council to resolve to have an elders reconciliation committee set up using the procedures of the party. And these were nominated by me, taken to working committee, which is the cabinet of the president, taken to the National Executive Committee, approved by the National Executive Committee. I was asked by NEC to go and contact the protagonists in this area, which were thought to be Nathan Nandala on one side and Dr. Kizza Besigye on the other, with the list and the terms of reference. Each of them consented to both the list of elders approved by NEC and the terms of reference. What that meant is that this committee was given the confidence of everybody, including our friends who sit in NEC, who sit on working committee, who decided to go and address their grievances in the media. The main accuser and the accused and other top leaders of the party appeared before the committee. It was my expectation that well-meaning members of the party would wait for the elders committee report. What happened in Zambia is a case of blackmail, dishonesty, coupled with fear for internal elections. The meeting held in Zambia once again raised the same accusations with just a few days to the 16th National Council meeting that shall be held next week on Friday, the 28th July 2023. Our accusers offer no new evidence of fault conducted. And so, for me, really, we have been accused not once or twice, we are subject of endless attacks on allegations being handled by the Elders Committee. The Zambia consultative meeting was one way meant to subvert the report of the Elders Reconciliation Committee, which is an act of sacrilege against the National Council and by default all the other organs of the party. I wish to state for the record, we have knelt over time and families and friends that are hurting over these unending accusations. Also for the record, the party has never got money from Museveni's regime as we are accused. The only money that the party receives from government of Uganda through the National Electoral Commission is legal and has always been fully accounted for. We understand the tension within the party over the leadership positions in the impending internal elections and the interests at stake. It's only moral right to accuse somebody and substantiate the accusation to prove it. Alongside this accusation is a reckless statement by the Honorable Ibrahim Ssemujju, my younger brother, suggesting that the party is at the verge of being taken to Museveni by the Secretary General, just like leaders in the Democratic Party and the UPC did. Honorable Ssemujju has not been in the party long enough to have felt the amount of sacrifice most in the current leadership endured to found and sustain it, probably because he only joined it a few years ago. Even as a practicing journalist, he seemed not to take note of the rough journey the current leadership has taken to bring this party where it is now. He can be forgiven because he still has a lot to learn about our history. On internal elections as a conflict area, I would like to inform the country that NEC sitting on 12th May 2023 passed an election roadmap and guidelines. Later were approved. This set in motion an electoral process that will be run independently by our party electoral commission. NEC, sitting on 16th June 2023, debated a possible extension of actual elections, and upon approval of a motion moved by Virginia Mugenyi, the election roadmap was extended to allow time to resolve internal disputes. This extension of the roadmap is now being implemented, and our election in the villages will commence on 21st July 2023. I would like to make a clarion call. Our accusers to participate in this election. We will not allow anybody to fight a democratic process, because it is upon this that we have one of the greatest democratic credentials ever in the politics of this country. A new accusation, unfortunately, by Honorable Ssemujju is that ISO is compiling, ISO has been recruited in compiling the FDC party register. As per the party constitution, Article 15, every party member shall register at their village, which is the party branch and the nucleus. Therefore, we need to understand that these registers were actually identified by the party, district party chairpersons and the leadership in the districts. It is therefore one of the greatest insults for any member of the party most especially a senior member who speaks for us, to go and even suggest that ISO is in control of the party. All of us as the FDC are duty bound to protect the name of the party, and any allegations labeled against any party leader should be truthful and provable. The FDC party is implementing the roadmap to elect new leaders from the village up to the National Delegates Conference, who shall elect the new NEC in November 2023. These allegations that are intended to put to disrepute the leadership and the membership of the FDC are not going to be taken lightly. And as president of the FDC, I am going to move for disciplinary action to be taken against these errant colleagues of ours. Now, I would like to turn my attention as I conclude to the proponents of the attacks on the FDC. They have said a lot of things that they cannot prove, not knowing that they also have skeletons in their closets that we can prove. I take note of the threats by my deputy Erias Lukwago, who is mobilizing for violence during the forthcoming National Council. This is something new in the culture of the FDC that he wants to introduce here. I appeal to my comrades to learn the new culture to which he was ushered in about 2 years ago. I have, of course, the record of the Lord Mayor is very clear. You know, he's been hopping from organization to organization, and this is being done for political expedience. He thought he would be a mercenary in the FDC, but we do not have room for any mercenary here. We don't. I took exception to the alleged dealings between Lord Mayor Lukwago with General Saleh. It was public knowledge. You displayed documents in the media and everywhere where General Saleh threatened to withdraw his political support in a handwritten document on ordinary paper. We got concerned about that. And naturally, as the chief executive of this party, I had questions to ask. When I raised this matter with him, he got angry, personal, and almost physical. He told me that this matter was between him and General Saleh, and I should keep off it. So I decided to step back and see whether this would be resolved between the two. But as far as I understand, it's not yet a resolved matter. As Deputy President coming from Uganda, he is expected to provide leadership in the running of the party programs in the region. Unfortunately, he has been reluctant and resisted implementation of activities of the party in Buganda, instead preferring to be in cohort with the National Unity Platform. He has also not been receptive to defiance and activism, because I would imagine that being a person who is in control of the city of Kampala, he should have been our frontline soldier in activism. But all we see about him is putting on good suits and running to court whenever we activists are slaughtered in the streets of Kampala. Our has misused his office as a platform to attack the party. And as I said earlier, he has failed to keep the image of the party and deserves disciplinary action. We have received information about the financing of the Nsambia meeting from suspicious sources. Some of the people who claim to have financed the meeting have never contributed a single penny to the well-being of the FDC. Today they are masquerading, they are saying, you know, they love FDC, and you know, they contributed almost 100 million to the running of that activity. It is common knowledge in the public that the Honorable Ssemujju remains one of the most traveled members of parliament. I have received complaints from some members of parliament that the chief whip is taking foreign trips from them, some of whom have never traveled since they came to this parliament, the 11th parliament. And we do not know how this is happening. We, as the leadership here, call for calm amongst the FDC party members. This is our party for which we have invested our youthful energies and lives. And we shall never sell it to anyone at any amount of billions of shillings as accused. With humility, we implore you to build strong grassroots structures on which the present and future leaders of our party shall stand. I see the group there clamoring for leadership here, wanting to destroy this party using that mode to ascend to leadership. What do they want to do? To come and preside over a destroyed party? I think they should rethink their steps. Before anybody hangs us, we are humbly appealing to our comrades who have chosen to accuse us. Don't be the judges in your own case. With the accusations on our heads, we shall be coming to you, our party members, in your respective localities, in the hills and the valleys of this country, in the nooks of this country, to defend your party and to defend ourselves. In conclusion, we are well aware of both our friends and adversaries. Of course, NRM under Museveni cannot be our friends. They can't. And this is the reason why, despite the opportunity to participate in IPOD, even as the highest level, we have shunned meeting Mr. Museveni either in public or in private. We will cherish and support our friends while continuing the fight against this dictatorial regime that has sucked the lives of Ugandans. I thank you very much. One Uganda, one people, one people. One Uganda. I say this for God and my country. We'll ask that the